Hello boys and girls, this is Mrs. Coates and I am going to be your mystery reader tonight for Appleblossom the Possum. We are going to be reading chapter 22 and 23 together. We're going to start with chapter 22, which is on page 151. So please open up your books to page 151 and we'll get started. Okay, chapter 22. Appleblossom looks through the gap between the woven sticks of the basket. She sees the little monster come into the den and put a plate on the floor. She smells food and feels her stomach rumble as the tip of her nose twitches. It might be a trick. Mama Possum said that monsters leave offerings that are really traps. The little people walks out of the room and Appleblossom waits and waits. She hears no dog sounds, no noise from people. Through one of the cracks in the side of the basket, she can see the food on the plate. It is driving her crazy. Appleblossom works her way up through the pile of clothing. Once on top, she balances on the edge of the basket, then swings her body around and climbs down. It doesn't take long before she's on the floor next to the plate of food. All fear melts away at the first bite of cheese. It's delicious. She follows with a grape. Each new thing is better than the last. Her sharp little teeth make quick work of the crunchy carrots. The best part of the sesame cracker is the dark seeds that coat the crisp offering. She drinks all the purple liquid in the cup, and it is so much tastier than muddy water. Her stomach rejoices as every new swallow of goodness, but the best comes last. Appleblossom can't believe the taste of the dark squares. Is there a way to describe this morsel of goodness? It is so sweet and smooth. It makes a green snail seem like an old pine cone seed, and every possum knows that a green snail is fantastic eating. It isn't long before Appleblossom has finished everything in front of her. She lifts her hat-covered head into the air and considers her next move. Something sweet-smelling is close by. She knows that she should concentrate on finding a way out of the monster house, but her escape takes a back seat to her stomach, and she scurries to the area with the sweet smells. The smells come from an area with a water chair and two empty ponds. Appleblossom climbs up a fuzzy cloth that hangs low and leads to a tube of fresh-smelling white stuff. The goop inside is delicious. It's tangy and tastes like the wild mint that grows in the fields by the stream. What a find! Appleblossom squeezes out all of the goodness. The white goo, with a swirl of red and green inside, oozes over her hands, and she does her best to eat it up. The next treasure is right there near the empty pond. Appleblossom pulls herself up the plastic curtain, paying no attention to the fact that her sharp nails poke small holes as she travels. She reaches a container and uses her opposable thumbs to twist the cap. It comes right off. What's inside smells like strawberries. Appleblossom scurries down to the hard white ground and lifts the large container to her mouth and takes a swing, and then alert! Problem! Bad move! The red goop is awful. It's not the juice of a strawberry. It is thick, foul-tasting poison. Appleblossom spits up the red slime and it comes out as a frothy mess. Her head spins. She staggers forward, moving in a weaving line around the tiled floor. She doesn't notice that the red goop is all over her feet and that she's leaving pink footprints with every step. Appleblossom does everything she can to get the nasty sludge out of her mouth. The more she tries, the bigger mess she makes. She grabs the end of the white paper that dangles next to the water chair. The thin tissue spins down in a seemingly endless stream, and she uses this to clean her teeth and mouth. She burps, and pink bubbles float into the air. She's dizzy, and she realizes that she's going to have trouble staying on her feet. So she wobbles back to her spot in the basket. It's a tough climb to the top, but once she reaches the rim, she happily falls into the pile of monster clothing. She then curls into a ball, pulls her hat down around her head, and holds on to her own tail. She tries to imagine that it belongs to one of her possum siblings, and then, with the taste of red slime still in her mouth, she drifts off to sleep. Okay, we're now going to read chapter 23, which is on page 157. Turn to page 157. Chapter 23. It is late in the afternoon when Izzy comes back into the room. She looks toward the white plate right away. All of the food is gone. This means her little visitor is still in the house. Izzy's heart starts to pound as her eyes move around the room. She sees something pink on the tile in the bathroom and freezes. Is it blood? She moves slowly to the bathroom door. The first thing she sees is toilet paper everywhere. It crisscrosses the room from the dispenser to the toilet to the sink to the tub. There's a large clump of toilet paper next to a puddle of shampoo, which is a goopy mess on the floor. The shower curtain has puncture holes in the plastic. Izzy looks at the sink. The toothpaste tube, which is full, is empty. The tile floor reveals something else. Tracks. She bends down to more carefully examine what looks like a crime scene and sees the prints of a shoe and what looks like a tiny, long-fingered hand. She is now an expert, and this is the track of a possum. Izzy considers her options. She could get her mom and dad and show them the mess. They would help clean up. But would they be excited to know that her furry pal is somewhere in the house? She imagines Columbo in one of his barking fits and her parents in a full-blown panic. And so she makes a decision. She will handle this herself. Izzy cleans up the toilet paper and shampoo mess. She does her best to hide the punctured shower curtain by pulling it on the inside of the bathtub. She throws away the toothpaste tube and wipes down the entire floor, which is covered with paw prints and boot tracks. Then she gets a book and sits on her bed. She whispers to the room, "I know that you're in here, little pal." She has learned from her reading in the library that possums are nocturnal, so she's content to wait until darkness falls to try and lure out the creature. But weekends are the time when Izzy's parents do the laundry. Her mom and dad rotate the chores, and this Saturday, it's her mom's turn to do the wash. Izzy is sitting on her bed reading a book about marsupials when her mother comes in. She goes to the laundry basket in Izzy's closet and scoops up an armful of dirty clothes. She turns to her daughter. "Enjoying the new book?" Izzy barely looks over when out of the corner of her eye she sees something. At the bottom of the heap of clothing, holding on for dear life to a pair of pants, is her possum, still wearing the pink bonnet, blue coat, and one boot. Izzy leaps up from the bed shouting, "Mom!" Izzy's mother abruptly freezes. The sound of her daughter's voice and the expression on her face causes Izzy's mother to gasp. "What is it?" Izzy scrambles to her mom and tries to grab the clothing from her arms. "Give me the laundry!" But it's not possible for her to get the whole armful of clothing, and half of it falls onto the floor, including the possum. Izzy's mother sees the marsupial, which Izzy fleetingly hopes looks like a stuffed animal, and screams, "Oh my goodness!" with the kind of alarm that would never be used about a plush toy. She releases everything in her arms, and as she steps back, knocks into the floor lamp. The lamp crashes down, and the clothing pile seems to come alive. The clothes aren't really alive, of course, but the possum is, and it's on the run. Izzy drops to her knees and goes after the moving marsupial. But her mother shrieks, "No, stay back! Wild animals carry disease!" From another part of the house, Izzy's father shouts, "What's going on in there?" And then the most dreaded sound joins the symphony of panic, Columbo. The barking dog can be heard galloping down the hallway. It is impossible to know who is more out of control, her mother, her father, the possum, the completely hysterical Columbo, or Izzy herself. Columbo charges into the room, and Izzy stops trying to catch the possum in order to lunge for the dog, grabbing his collar. Izzy's father appears in the doorway just as the possum shoots toward the bed, but Izzy's mother drops the laundry basket right over the possum, trapping the frantic animal. Izzy's father puts his hand on the clothing basket and shouts, "I got him!" which is strange because the possum is already caught. There's nothing Izzy can do. The cat is out of the bag, or in this case, the possum is in the clothes hamper. Thanks for reading with me tonight, boys and girls. I am excited to continue to read tomorrow and find out more what happens to poor Appleblossom the possum. Have a good night.